Alright, here's the brief of everything. This is the performance sound system as featured in the Pontiac Fieros. This one in particular came out of one of 3 cars that I'm parting out. So these are all spare parts. I will say this up front. All speakers are not intended to be working. Subwoofer will need to be reconed. Inside you can see it through. The paper is just pretty much old, dry rotted, kind of shredded. The subwoofer will need to be reconed. Subwoofer itself, the speaker, does not work. These side speakers, I'm just leaving them on there so that it's easy to see what goes to what, and also to keep the plug wires intact. They look pretty dry to me. They're just little paper. This one especially has a tear in it. So the speakers are not intended to be sold as working items. These speakers would either be replaced with whatever system would be used on your car. The subwoofer speaker itself would need to be reconed. Whether or not the system works, I'm not 100% sure at all, because the car came to me as a non-working vehicle. The engine was halfway dismantled, so we never started the car, never installed the stereo system to see if it actually worked. Speaker that connects to the subwoofer has its connector, goes all the way to the main junction, which goes to the amplifier, which then goes to what appears to be the plug that goes into the back of the actual radio itself. From there, wires tailing out, 1 set of wires, 2 set of wires. These wires go down the center railing, like where the armrest is, going to the back of the car. These are the speakers that mount into the walls. So following all the way around, these wires are not cut. They go complete all the way around to the junction. This one, right hand top, so it goes into the passenger side wall. This one is actually fairly well. It's a little rubber insulation in my side. Replace that because this is pretty much useless that's on here. So the little housing goes around. The speaker itself will come out, but I'm leaving it in there for all intents and purposes for the demonstration of how it goes together. Second wire that goes down the center armrest around the back. Once again, all complete, connector still intact. Going to left hand top, so that's the driver hand side. This one, the housing, as you see, is cracked. But a little glue on it, or to affix it to its proper wall, should keep it fairly solid. So this one is cracked, along with, of course, the speaker blown. But we already know, as stated earlier, speakers are not intended to be actually working. They're here more for placement of demonstration. Going back to the main junction box, from here where the wire split out, you have the green set and light green, which would route through your dashboard all the way through to the connector, which goes to the front passenger side speaker. The other side color, which is the gray and brown, coming from the junction box, going all the way through. As we took off that front dashboard, speaker wires were already cut, so you will need the connector for the driver's side front dash speakers, as the connector itself has been cut. The other 3 wires coming from the junction box seem to have been a black for ground, a yellow, and the gray, which the gray went to another junction, so I don't know if that was some power, and the yellow, maybe that was some power. Refer to your electrical manual for the Pontiac Fiero with performance sound system for exact detailing of those wires. The other wire coming from the junction box, spreading from the other side, goes all the way across the dash. This plugs into kind of like a little base pod where there's a lot of different connectors. Maybe that's for power, I'm not absolutely sure, but this plugs into that little base on the side. It's on the driver hand side, up near the driver hand side front speaker inside of the dash. There's like a little base there, and there's a bunch of different plugs plugged into it. This is where this one was plugged into. Then it continues around up the side, A-arm or A-pillar as some people call it, and then across the head, or roof as most people call it, going to the overhead, which is this. This one in particular has the cutouts on the side. This car that it came from was a T-top. Once again, the car that it came from was a T-top. Therefore, it needed these cutouts in order for the T-top to settle and be able to remove and look properly, which means the original plastic piece had been cut by the manufacturer of the T-top and then placed with this little cover over it to make it look proper. The sticker that says Performance Sound Minimum Maximum came off of here, but I do have it. So this will come with it. I don't remember which way it goes. It possibly goes this way, in my opinion, because it actually mounts to the car like this. So it possibly goes like this, but you'll be able to check it once connected for minimum and maximum of the Performance Sound slider, which of course is still connected. I have the screws for mounting in here and inside of the light fixtures for mounting this as well, which will go with the item for the auction. And that pretty much is the whole system as shown for the Pontiac Fiero Subwoofer or Performance Sound System components and wiring.